5 years I have been on YouTube, I haven't really talked about things outside of sports or video games. And this year, I wanted to challenge myself and get out of the box I put myself in. So, in order to do that, we're going to be talking about one of my animes that caught my attention last year, Oshi No Ko Season 3. This caught my attention last summer because Idol was everywhere. Granted, am I late to it? Yes, but that's neither here nor there. Just hearing it and all that stuff made me intrigued. So we watched it last summer, and then I was so into it, I read the manga to the end. Yeah, that's right. I did. Do I sometimes wish I didn't? Yes. Yes, I do. But that doesn't really matter. So for this season, for season 3, we'll be talking about it every week. And in review and in detail and with you guys, hopefully, if you're into that kind of thing. So leave a like, comment, grab some popcorn, grab a soda pop, because we are going to be breaking down this episode in 10 minutes or less. Episode 1 of this season was called Down Bad. We'll get into why that's relevant here shortly. But this picks up 6 months after where season 2 left off, particularly right after the launch of Bikomachi's Poppin' 2. Since then, the group Bikomachi has gained 20 million views on the video Poppin' 2 and breaking 360,000 subs on YouTube. Mem Chow is the one delivering this update, telling us that she's been doing collabs with gamers, with everyone she can to help build their presence online, and is working incredibly hard. Then she kind of goes on to talking about who also has been given a little bit of a rise in stardom, and that's Ruby. She specifically says that she now has this weird, dark, and mysterious aura about her since being in that video, because we, the viewers, know she found the body of her former doctor, sensei, first real love crush, Goro, in that cave while they were shooting for it, and since then has become the new revenge person, seeking revenge for not only her sensei, but her mother, Ai, as well. Switching roles with our favorite emo actor, Aqua. This also kind of depicts what's been going on with Kana. As post sort of catch up here, we get them talking about them, Kana and Ruby, meeting on set when they were kids and all that stuff, sort of still poking fun that she was the baking soda girl and all that fun stuff. But it does kind of show that there's a little bit of tension within the group. Once they're done breaking for the day, Kana gets up and just says, "Hey, if we're done, I'm going to head home." While Ruby kind of just goes to her room. This was in response to Mem Chow sort of saying, "Hey, why don't we get something to eat together?" You know, just being friendly, being a team, being a squad. None of them are really receptive to this. Then we get to follow Kana to sort of wrap up this opening part here of her walking down the street and seeing pictures of Akana and having these sort of flashbacks to Aqua telling her that she's dating Akana for real. Now, one thing I failed to mention earlier on was Mem Chow talking about what happened to Akana in these 6 months. That she has now a lead in a movie and is doing other roles in movies and shows as well that Kana is looking at in this scene. Now, to sort of split in the middle of kind of this Kana walking portion, there is a conversation between Akana and Aqua. And in this conversation, it's mainly just them sort of wondering when they'll see each other again because they're so busy. Aqua's now on a web talk show that we learn a little bit later films 2 to 3, even 4 episodes in one sitting, which makes him really busy alongside other acting roles and modeling gigs for magazines. And with Akana kind of becoming a blossoming star, they really don't see each other. So you're getting this sort of normal conversation that a couple has. Now, what's interesting in this is there's a panel in the manga sort of showing Aqua's slight indifference to it, or maybe a longer pause that the anime doesn't do. I'm sure this was not intentional, but it is a small detail that I think kind of has an inkling of foreshadowing a little later. But we end this with basically Kana just breaking down, looking up at Kana while thinking about Aqua. Post the traumatic Kana catch up and all that stuff, we get the insert song that is basically episode 1's opening. This isn't the actual opening song for season 3. It's just an insert because they were doing a live concert. So they're just showing this off. It was a great song. The song and visuals are amazing. Really good animation, really good song, using parts of Idol to bring it up, sort of recapture that magic. There's some things in there that are interesting. One was Kana's face when Ruby sort of slides in front of her. And then in this manga panel here that I'm throwing up on the screen, you kind of see it again here. Kana being sort of shocked at Ruby's actions in this, sort of, again, becoming this star, which I think most people watching and reading sort of figured would be the case. She is the daughter of Ai. She's got the talent, and we know she has the will to be doing this. So it naturally makes sense for her to start doing that, becoming that. It's almost like it's in her DNA, hilariously enough. The fascinating part here that is very interesting and a start of something, I'm telling you, just hold on to this one. Her dad, Hikaru, is watching and being very weird about it. Very weird about it, but he is watching, and we know who he is. We know he's the father of these two, but we don't necessarily know a lot about him. We're getting the taste of it, and as someone who read the manga, it's just going to get more and more as we go along here. But he is very much taking note of Ruby and the new Bikomachi. Post-concert, I didn't necessarily want to talk about this, but I'm just sort of doing it for relevancy because it adds stuff later on. One of the big things that this episode was doing was this sort of contrast of what the public's seeing and what they're actually going through. And after this, we get this music store of these guys talking kind of just about everything and anything about Bikomachi, and they make a couple of comments again at Ruby and Kana. For Ruby, they talk about this dark aura about her. Her demeanor is different, and Kana looks depressed. One of them actually says she looks like she hasn't seen the sun. Whether that's literal or metaphorical, that's what she's doing on stage. She's not hiding it very well. They think this is happening because there's a new member coming on, that this new girl is putting a rift and a wedge between them. The girls, the original ones, this basically anything can happen. Obviously, we know that's not the case, but that's what they think. And if they're the eyes of the fans, that's probably what the fans are going to be thinking. Post this scene, we get, again, this contrast. It goes from bright, lively to dark. In the middle of the minivan, returning back home from the show, Memcho asks, where was Aqua? Why wasn't Aqua here? And Mayoko tells him, again, he's working. He's doing 3 episodes in a sitting. He gets home really, really late, so he doesn't have a whole lot of time for it. The interesting part about the scene here, and I'll throw a still up, is it's just dark. You're seeing Ruby on her phone. Kana's sort of out of it. It's a very different contrast to what we just saw on stage. Almost as if we're getting to starting and beginning the whole lies thing. I know, crazy, right? The show where it starts off with the opening song talking about lies is doing it again. It's great. After post all the Aqua stuff, Kana asked to be dropped off somewhere because she, quote, has business to take care of. Instantly, we get a transition of Kana sitting on the stairs of wherever she's at, kind of just being melancholy. Mem shows up to talk to her about it and really just sort of understanding what's going on. Before Mem Chow shows up, however, we get again another flashback of Aqua. This time with the replays getting encroached by this darkness to indicate there is separation going on here. And the clip that it ends on is Aqua's dorky dance from season 1 when Kana says, "I'm going to make you love me. I'm going to be your star." Again, this is clearly emphasizing what she's feeling. And after that, we see Mem Chow show up to just talk to Kana about what's going on between her and Aqua. Kana says that for the past 6 months, he's been going to his room when she shows up to Strawberry Productions. He wasn't at the concert and all this other stuff. Mem says he's just busy. We heard he's doing 3 episodes a shoot now. He doesn't have time for this. Kana just lets it all out and says he's clearly avoiding me, saying he can't be around other girls while dating Akana, calling him the most trustworthy boyfriend any girl could have. She compliments Akana and Aqua and even says she's okay with the relationship, but just wonders why he's avoiding her like the plague. Something he hasn't done throughout the series. There's something else going on here. Kana kind of just, again, breaks down. Mem takes her home and then looks at her phone and decides to go find Aqua. Aqua, just finishing up this filming session, walks out the door to find Mem there. He's sort of confused and she goes, "What a coincidence." Clearly it's not a coincidence. They end up at Mem's apartment and Aqua sort of explains what he's been going through. He says the shoot today was 3 weeks of content, and sometimes it's even 4, on top of doing stuff for Lala Lee's next play. He mentions he wants to study because at this point he needs to be studying hard because he wants to go to medical school. Also, another sort of manga aside, he mentions he wants to be a surgeon. Not just doctor, a actual surgeon. Options open because he's been thinking a lot more about his future lately. Now we get to the crux of the matter. She brings up Kana. Aqua first off tells her just to stay out of it. Mem just wants to help because Kana's in the dumps. It's just human nature for her to want to help, and tells Aqua her performances have been getting worse and that she would like Aqua to fix it, that he can't run away after, quote, putting the moves on her, and ultimately tells him he led her on. Aqua, taken kind of aback by this, changes his posture. The anime did this really, really well, of him standing over her. Even the manga did it really, really well. And he just bears his soul to her here. Aqua tells Mem that he's keeping his distance and he can't be half-assed about it. He knew it might hurt her, but that's not why he's doing it. It is to protect her. Going back to the future conversation, he now is concerned about her future. He tells her her popularity will increase, and it's normal to think that her fans will get upset if she has a boyfriend, and that he can't let something bad happen to her. He doesn't want a crazy fan to kill her. Not again. Mem, at this point, comforts him. And we get an internal thought saying maybe she had it backwards, that it wasn't Kana who was crazy for Aqua, but maybe it's Aqua who's crazy for Kana. Ultimately, she hugs him and comforts him and tells him she understands why he's doing what he is doing. We get to the Ruby portion of the episode where we see her talking to her friends at school. Her more popular friend, Frill, talks about the show that Aqua is on and that she enjoys him as a character on the show, but doesn't want to meet him as it just sort of would ruin the experience for her. She does talk about Ruby's gaining popularity and that she and their other friend might actually be working together fairly soon. She even brings up the notion that Ruby could be working with Aqua very, very soon too. Then we get the interesting, hilarious panel of Ruby laughing and saying about that. Now we get to see what we saw in the trailers, which was Ruby being the new reporter for Digging Deep, the show Aqua is on. This actually embarrasses Aqua very, very much so that he's now working with his little sister on this show. Her report for her first time doing this is looking for someone named Pikachu. I'm still not 100% sure what that was all about. But after a few goes abouts and cuts of interviewing random people, they find him a person with the name Pikachu. Aqua has a conversation with the director, the same director that helped him in season 1 and season 2, Kabigari, and he tells Aqua, well, you had a good reaction to it, and I think he thinks that Ruby being here will be a good thing for him. It'll help him show a side that is hidden to the fans, one that only his friends and family see. Then he compliments Ruby and says she's quite a strategist, telling Aqua that he didn't pitch this idea to Ruby. Ruby pitched it to him. He says he was invited to the B. Kamachi show, and Ruby presented him with this proposal. Aqua's taken aback by this, not thinking his sister is one to do this or has the mindset to do this. But once again, the director says this is a good thing. It shows she's strong by going in back doors to get positions she wants and not just having leads come her way. Then it ends with him asking if she has a good advisor over at Strawberry Productions. The episode comes to an end with Ruby walking up to a guy fishing on a dock, and it shows that it's none other than the original president of Strawberry Productions, Ichigo himself. So that was episode 1 of Oshi No Ko, Down Bad. Once again, we'll be doing this every week as an episode comes out, so if there's weeks where we don't get an episode, we won't have anything. Or maybe we'll go back and kind of cover some of the other stuff that's interesting to me. Again, I want to break outside of the video games, sports thing. So this is one thing else I do is I watch anime. I watch it because I have it. So again, we'll see how this goes. If it does well, we'll do more of it, but at least we'll be doing this to help other skills of mine and stretch the muscles I've been stretching a while. So again, let me know down below. Are you an Oshi No Ko anime fan? Do you like all this stuff? Do you not like it? Let me know, and we'll see you back here next week.